Hey everybody, this is Callie. Thanks so much for being here with me today. I am sharing a fun interactive card, and it's so easy because it uses kit contents from the February 2024 Simon Says Stamp Card Kit. The next card kit features the slider, camera, and typewriter stamp set, so you have a vintage typewriter in the bottom left-hand corner and a Polaroid-style camera in the top right-hand corner. There is a coordinating die set, and there is a coordinating die for the typewriter and this rectangle one that cuts out the Polaroid picture as well as the typewriter paper. This is what I have from the card kit. So I'm going to be using the typewriter image, and there is a slit in the die that will cut out a slit in the typewriter image so that you can create an interactive card so that your typewriter paper can slide up and down. So that's what I'm going to be creating today. I have a piece of Hammermill cardstock here in my MISTI, and I'm going to be stamping this image with some VersaFine Clear Nocturne ink. It's a pigment ink, so I can emboss with it, and I'm going to use some clear embossing over the stamped image. I was going to emboss this image and then stamp the rest, but then I went ahead and decided I would stamp it all at once and then emboss it all together. So I've prepared my cardstock there with some embossing powder tool. I'm going to stamp my first typewriter image and then decided, okay, I need to stamp my sentiment and typewriter paper as well. So carefully I stamped the typewriter paper as well as the sentiment inside that typewriter page. And then I also stamped a little pull indicator. It's also a stamp that's on that same stamp set. You don't want to risk smudging your stamped images or sentiments. You can always do this one step at a time. I like to do it all at once just so the paper isn't warped from the heat embossing between each image. This just saves me some time too to do it all at once as long as I'm careful. Now I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle some clear embossing powder over each of these elements. Then I'll heat set this with a heat tool and get my images ready to color. The coloring I'm doing is very simple today, and I'm really lightly brushing over the embossed areas, so I'm not too worried about it harming my Copic tips. For the typewriter message, I am just adding some light browns here to give it a vintage paper feel, and I'm just blending towards the center and leaving it white at the center. Not a whole lot of blending at all. I'll do the same on the typewriter, but that's not going to matter so much because it's going to get covered up anyway. Then for my pink typewriter, I'm using 3 pink colors, R81, R83, and R85, and adding some colors here and there. Again, I'm not scrubbing over the embossed areas very much, so I'm not too concerned about it ruining my Copic tips. I've in fact never had any issues with embossed images and Copic coloring. So I'll finish coloring up this typewriter quickly with that pink, and then I'll add a few gray notes here and there for the ink ribbon as well as the keyboard and spacebar. Because there are so many details on this stamped image, it's very easy to color, and you don't even have to be perfect with it. I just lightly scrubbed over everything, and it gave it a vintage feel that I didn't need to worry about. So the coloring took me just a few minutes to do. Now, using that die set, I die cut both my images out, and as you can see here, that slit will allow that paper to slide in, and then you can create an interactive element out of it, and this is how you're going to do it. Slide that paper in to where you want just the pull tab indicator to show, and then you want to add a stopper. So I'm using some foam strips, one at the bottom where I want my slider paper to stop, and then on the sides to kind of create a track and also to provide more adhesive for the typewriter onto whatever background that you're going to attach your typewriter to. So I'm adding 2 little strips to the side, and then one at the very tip top. That one's not required, but again, it adds more support for your typewriter when you add it to your background. So now here I can slide it up and down, and that stopper will stop it from going any further down so that the recipient doesn't lose that typewriter paper. Included in the card kit is the Simple Stories Vintage Love Story patterned paper. These are 6 by 8 inches, and they're so pretty. I love these colorful butterflies, but I also love that stack of books at the top, so that's the one that I'm going to be using for my background. I really wanted something that would display behind a typewriter nicely, but not distract too much, and so this is perfect for it. And I'm going to carefully use a section at the top so that I can also reuse and repurpose the butterflies on this very same panel. I used a stitched rectangle die to die cut the stack of books for my background, and now I'm going to fussy cut out these 2 little butterflies from this piece of cardstock. That other panel had lots of beautiful butterflies on it, but I decided to save that for another project and can use that for a background too for an easy card. After fussy cutting these butterflies, I can go ahead and set them aside because I'm going to put my card together and adhere my typewriter onto this background before I put it all together. For my mat around the stack of books background that I die cut, I'm using a piece of cream colored cardstock. I thought this would add to the vintage love story feel, and it also is a part of the card kit. Before I added my typewriter, I thought that this also needed a stopper so that you can't pull that typewriter page all the way out. So using another piece of foam strip, I'm going to go ahead and apply a piece on that typewriter paper just before the slit. What you absolutely need to remember here is to not remove the backing because you don't want it to stick to the cardstock. You want it to slide freely but still have a stopper. If you accidentally pull the backer off, you can neutralize it with some embossing powder, or you can add a piece of cardstock over that. It's not going to affect the mechanism at all, but it is going to stop the paper from sliding all the way out, as you can see here. So that card is pretty much done. Remember those butterflies that I fussy cut? I'm just going to bend up the wings a little bit and use some liquid glue at the bodies of these butterflies. I love doing this for butterflies on all of my cards, but I'm just going to attach it with the bodies only. That way you can get a 3D look with those butterflies' wings standing up just a little bit for some dimension, and then we have a finished card. This card was so easy to put together using the kit contents. So I want to show you the two other cards that I made earlier this month when I got this kit. There are some acetate foil sheets that come with the kit with heart and love themes. So here's a package of 4 of them. And what I did for this first card was I foiled the acetate with gold, and then I fussy cut around some pretty floral and butterfly image in the background and just attached it and turned it into a shaker. For my second card, I used the camera from that stamp set and also foiled one of the foil designs in pink foil, and then I did a cascading hearts from the Rainbow Splash collection using their embossing folder for the background. And then for the flowers on the camera, that's also fussy cut using the patterned paper from the kit. And the fun thing is you can also make this camera interactive by cutting a slit at the bottom of the camera, and then you can pull a Polaroid image out of that slot as well. So I hope these 3 designs give you lots of inspiration using the Simon Says Stamp February 2024 card kit. If you're interested in the supplies that I use, be sure to check out the links below where everything will be linked for your convenience. Thank you so much for stopping by and have a wonderful day. Bye everyone!